What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I am MLB Chatterbox, aka Christian Corey. See the title on the thumbnail of today's video. We are going to recap some of the news and events that went on today. Yes, today is the trade deadline. Yes, it is the trade deadline. It is August the 31st, and that means it's the MLB trade deadline. And really, I'm just going to go over some of the big trades that happened. I call them big. I mean, really, in reality, I don't think anything major happened at the trade deadline. I wasn't really expecting a whole heck of a lot, to be quite honest. So I'm just going to go run through some of the trades that have transpired here today. I'm probably not going to get through every single little transaction, to be quite honest, because, again, some are like, some are, not that big of a news, but really, I thought the trades that did go down weren't that big. I think the bigger news is what didn't happen and the teams that didn't make any moves. I thought that was the biggest headline of them all here on this August the 31st, 2020. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first trade. I got the Padres. Padres been making some moves. First, they acquired first baseman Mitch Moreland from the Red Sox in exchange for two prospects, not yet known, so we don't know who they are, but apparently Mitch Moreland is going to be going to Southern California, not Los Angeles, but San Diego. Good move for San Diego. Real quick thoughts. Good move for them. A backup first baseman, a backup Hosmer. If in fact they do make the playoffs, and let's say he gets hurt, Moreland can certainly back him up and fit in the lineup and at first base quite nicely. Does have some pop left still a little bit on the older side, but still got some pop, and in that ballpark in San Diego it can play. Another trade from the Padres. They acquired catcher Jason Castro for pitcher Gerardo, I think I'm saying this right, Gerardo Reyes from the Angels. I think I'm saying his name right, I'm not quite sure. Jason Castro, a catcher. That's good. I think the reason why they did this was for a trade that I'm going to get to later in the video, because that involved one of their catchers. Here in 2020, this trade, again, maybe not sexy on paper, but it makes sense for what I'm going to tell you, I guess I could say. It makes sense for what I'm going to tell you. And that is right now. The third and final transaction the Padres made today was to get starting pitcher Mike Clevinger from the Indians. Yes, Clevinger, Indians, great. Clevinger goes from Cleveland, Rock City, to the sunny San Diego. But, Clevinger, the Padres, I'm glad they made that trade. They needed pitching. They need pitching. Tatis is doing good. Machado is iffy. Hosmer hasn't done anything spectacular. But they needed that pitcher. They needed that pitching. They're going to go anywhere in the postseason. They need that pitching. And for extended playoffs, they're going to need that pitching. They will. I think Clevinger going to the Padres is great. Surprised he didn't go to the Yankees, but we'll get to that later on. Next involves the Athletics. This is an A's move. Again, they're the Oakland Athletics. They're the cheapos of the West. They are, they are cheap. So, again, this move is an A's move. The A's get starting pitcher Mike Minor from the Rangers for two players to be named later. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Two players to be named later is going the other way to Texas. Now, again, I have a theory on this player to be named later thing, because I've seen a lot of that, and I have a theory, but I'll tell you that at the end of the video. But again, this is an A's move. They are the Oakland Athletics. They are Moneyball. They are cheap. This is an A's move. I would like to have seen them get, Bauer from the Reds. Maybe the Reds feel like they can still make the playoffs, but I don't really know. They're not that great. I think, it's an A's move. I mean, what do you expect from the Athletics? They're in first place. They're great. They're going to make the playoffs regardless, but I wish they could have got Bauer. Bauer would have been a whole heck of a lot better than Mike Minor. Again, Mike Minor's older. I don't think he's as poised as Bauer. I really thought Bauer fit great in Oakland. Bauer kind of reminds me of Barry Zito, if that makes sense. I just kind of thought it at the top of my head. He reminds me of Barry Zito when he was there for the Athletics. Was Zito a left-handed pitcher too? I think he was. I'm not quite sure. He might have been a righty. But, again, Mike Minor is, in fact, a left-handed pitcher, which is nice. I mean, he's good. But, again, what is he? 32. And Bauer is 29. That's kind of a big difference, I think. But, again, it's an A's move. What do you expect? All right. Next on the list, the Blue Jays acquire Robbie Ray from the Diamondbacks for left-handed pitcher Travis Bergen. And $300,000 in cash. Again, I think this is really good for the Blue Jays. I guess the Blue Jays are trying to make it this year. It seems like they got a team that can do it. They can sneak into the playoffs. Again, Ray, former Tiger, left-handed pitcher, panned out pretty nice in Arizona for a while. Wasn't doing great this year, but I think this is good for the Blue Jays. This is a nice move for the Blue Jays. Very, very good for the Blue Jays. He could help them out a lot if they do, in fact, make the playoffs. All right. Next is the Tigers have claimed Derek Rodriguez off waivers. Not that big of a deal. Really not much to say. Derek Rodriguez, son of Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge Rodriguez. Again, he was a Tiger before 2006 and 7, I think. Or I don't know. I think he was 2004, 5, and 6. I do believe Pudge Rodriguez. But that was his son. That is his son, and they sent him down to the alternative site. So it's not like he's coming up to the major leagues. He's okay. All right, next trade is Rockies. The Rockies trade for Kevin Pillar. Not Kevin Millar, Kevin Pillar. There's a difference. From the Red Sox for a player to be named later. And slot money, international slot pool money. Cash money. Again, good trade for the Rockies. I think, some speed in that outfield. The ball flies out in Coors Field. So I think he can cover a lot of ground out there. The Rockies are looking to make the playoffs. It seems like with this move, again, Red Sox aren't going anywhere. Rockies want to at least kind of give it the old college try and make the playoffs, or try to make the playoffs and see what can happen there in the Mile High City. So I think that's a good move for the Rockies. Makes sense. Big outfield in Colorado. Ball flies. He covers a lot of ground. That is nice for the Rockies. All right, next one. This is a surprising one. The Marlins get Starling Marte from the D-backs for 2 pitchers. Again, Starling Marte, he's a nice bat. I know he's a steroid user, but whatever. As long as he's not doing steroids now, I don't really care. And I think the Marlins, this is a really good move for the Marlins. This is like a perfect Marlins move. It's not outlandish. It's not out of their wheelhouse. It's not too expensive for them. They didn't give up a whole heck of a lot, it sounds like. It looks like they're trying to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs this year, I think there'd be no pressure on them. There's no fans there. It doesn't matter how they do. I mean, this shows that they're kind of somewhat serious, at least for this year, making the playoffs. And Starling Marte might be a free agent after this year. I'm not 100% sure, but if he is, they could always, re-sign him. Or if he has another year left on the deal, they could trade him next year at the deadline if they're not in it. But I think this is a good deal for the Marlins of getting Starling Marte from the Diamondbacks for 2 pitchers. And I think that it's a perfect Marlins deal. I like this deal a lot for the Marlins, actually. All right, also the Blue Jays get Ross Stripling from the Dodgers for 2 players to be named later. Again, 2 players to be named later. The player to be named later thing. I don't know why, but a lot of players are getting named later. They have no names as of now. Blue Jays, Ross Stripling. Good for them. Reliever. They need a reliever. Dodgers, Stripling. I mean, I know he's not doing great, I think, this year. The Dodgers, they don't need him. They're not going to miss him by any means. They're stacked. 2 players to be named later. We'll see who they are. Most likely minor leaguers, I would assume. And, I think good deal for the Blue Jays. It's a nice deal. It's not terrible. Not great. But it's a move. It's a nice move. The Mets get back Todd Father. Todd Frazier goes from Texas back to the Queen City. I think the Mets getting Todd Frazier is good. Again, players to be named later. Or cash. 2 players to be named later, to be exact. Good for the Mets. Someone at third base. I mean, they're trying to make the playoffs, I guess. What are they? What are the Mets in? Let's see how the Mets are doing. I mean, they're 5 games back as of now. I mean, I guess they're trying to do something. They're not trying to, totally tick off the fans and draft neck Mark out there. So, it's a good deal, I guess. I mean, the Rangers suck, so it doesn't matter. The Rangers get to get rid of him, and they get some money in return, or 2 players to be named later. And 2 players to be named later. So yeah, that's a good trade for the Mets. Again, the Mets also acquired catcher Robinson Chirinos from the Rangers for a player to be named later. Probably should have put this in one, but I guess separate trade. So, again, they're working with the Rangers again. They get a catcher too. So they get Todd Father and Robinson Chirinos. They get a catcher, nice for the Mets. Again, so in reality, the Rangers are getting 3 players to be named later, unknown players, and cash. So basically, the Rangers put a for sale sign up there in Texas in front of Globe Light Field and said, yeah, we're selling. Basically, that's what it sounds like. They're not going anywhere, looking for the future, looking to reopen that ballpark next year with some nice young pieces for their fans, when fans hopefully can be in attendance down in Texas. So again, good move. Nothing great. And again, as you can see, not a whole heck of a lot going on in the MLB, this trade deadline. And again, 2 of the biggest moves I thought that happened this deadline was, Starling Marte going to the Marlins, and the biggest one was Clevenger going to the Padres. I'm glad for the Padres. The Padres did good. I'm glad they got Clevenger. Now again, I said in the beginning of the video, the biggest story of this deadline is what didn't happen. What teams didn't make those moves. And there's 4 of them. They're the Yankees, didn't make any moves. The Braves didn't make any moves. The Twins didn't make any moves. The Dodgers didn't make any moves that benefited them. I mean, they gave up Ross Stripling, which was like, giving away, I don't know, a cookie. Like, that's nothing. It's like giving away a Girl Scout cookie. I mean, that's what it is. Ross Stripling is a Girl Scout cookie when it comes to the Dodgers. That's his value. Again, those 4 teams, Dodgers, Yankees, Twins, Braves, didn't make anything. No moves. And they're all at the top of their division, which is weird. Again, the Dodgers, let's start with the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they didn't really need to make any moves. They're stacked. They made their moves in the offseason. They got Betts and Price. Again, I know Price is not playing, but they still got him. They made their moves in the offseason. I mean, they're ready and raring to go. But the other 3, huge deals. Yankees, number 1, where are you, Yankees? You have no pitching. Your pitching sucks. You should have got Clevenger and or Plesac, like I suggested in my last video. You should have got them. Everybody was talking about it. I was seriously 95% sure one of those 2 pitchers from Cleveland was going to go to the Bronx, but they didn't. And the Yankees, they struck out on this one. They did. The Yankees have no pitching. That will be their demise. You're a Yankees fan? Watch out, because you better bash the ball in the postseason. I mean, you better go all Ruth and Gehrig on yourselves, because they got to bash their way through this. And they've tried that. And they tried it that way before, and it didn't work. Pitching. Clevenger would have been great. Plesac would have been great. I thought they would have done really nice in New York. But again, Yankees swung and missed. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is the Braves. Again, Braves, you're in first place. The Miami Marlins, you are 2.5 games up on the Miami Marlins. Are you serious? The Marlins suck. Okay, the Marlins are terrible. Why didn't you make any moves? You have no pitching. You're going to put Fultonevich out there? Are you serious? You have nobody else. Freddie Freeman, again, risks his life, basically, to play, which is great. But, again, you can't win with offense. You just can't. You can't. Freeman and Acuna can't do it all. I was like, where are the Braves? I totally almost kind of forgot about the Braves because I'm thinking, okay, yeah, they're in first. But I look at it now, it's like, well, they're 2.5 games up. That's not good. And the Phillies are on their track, and the Marlins. So the Braves could lose this because they didn't make any moves. And again, no waiver deadline. You can't get Verlander this year, guys. You can't pull off a Verlander trade. You can't. The Braves, sorry, Matt Pal 27, or 37, because you guys, your Braves are going to be screwed unless they magically get in the playoffs And again, if the Braves make the playoffs, they're going to have to face the Dodgers, the Phillies, possibly, even the Marlins, maybe. They're going to have to face the Cubs, which are, poised and ready to go. They're going to have to face probably the Brewers, probably, if they make it. The Cardinals, if they make it. Even the Reds, if they... I mean, a lot of teams are making it this year. So, they're going to... I mean, they got a tough road to haul. I mean, if they think they can bash their way through this, it better work, if you're a Braves fan. And again, maybe they don't care. Maybe like fans aren't here. Okay, if we don't make the World Series this year, it's not going to be that big of a deal. If we don't make the NLCS at least, it's not going to be a big deal because fans aren't here. Maybe they're looking toward next year. Maybe that's their move. It's like, why make a risky move for only 1 year when our fans aren't going to be here? So I mean, if maybe there was a deal out there, but the guy who they're going to get was only going to last them 1 year, and they're thinking, well, screw it. I don't want to do it because we have no fans, and there's no point in it. So what if we go to the NLCS and lose? We're not going to disappoint our fans, really, because they're not paying for anything. They're watching this on TV. So maybe that's their mindset. I don't know. Again, the Twins. That Central's been pesky. Why did they make any moves? They need some pitching. Clevenger could have been good. Plesac, I could have seen them going to the Twins. Now, again, like I said in my other video, they probably wouldn't do a inter-division trade. But, however, it could have worked out for the Twins. They could have got Clevenger. They could have got Plesac. They could have got Bauer. They could have got somebody. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm surprised Bauer hasn't gotten moved, to be quite honest. I mean, the Reds, they're in 4th place. They're 5 games back. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, most likely. Moustakas wasn't moved, which was weird. Castellanos wasn't moved, which was weird. Although I think maybe Castellanos signed a contract. I don't know. But that was weird. Comment down below if Castellanos signed a contract with the Reds. Anyways, point being is that Bauer, why didn't he get moved? I didn't get that part. Bauer would have been great for any other team. He would have been great for the Yankees. He would have been really good for the Athletics. That would have been great. Twins would have fitting nicely too. Braves would have fit nicely. The guy who didn't get traded was Bauer. And I was waiting for his trade. I'm like, okay, Bauer's automatic. He's getting traded. One guy that you would have said, who's getting traded this deadline? I would have said probably Bauer because everybody was talking about it. Like, Bauer. Where's Trevor Bauer? Bauer was not traded, which was weird. Again, the biggest story is just things that never happened. That's the biggest story. Yeah, where are the Yankees? Like, that and the Braves just baffle me. Because they've been in it. I mean, if the Yankees don't make the World Series, their fans are going to be ticked off. I mean, maybe they shouldn't be as ticked off as, if fans were actually in the stands and they could, go to a game physically and watch a game and, buy tickets and stuff, and spend their money. Maybe that'd be different. Maybe they don't have to be as mad this year because they're not going to be there and they're not going to spend their hard-earned money on the Yankees in the playoffs. But still, you got to be a little peeved. Like, you're the New York freaking Yankees. You haven't done anything. Like, your pitching is not that great still. Yeah, you got Cole, but what else? Like, Cole cannot carry you throughout this postseason. Again, it's extended, so I don't understand why. They didn't make any. All right, guys, I know I'm not wearing my jersey, but I just wanted to edit this in there after the fact because I forgot, and I just wanted to mention this real quick. My theory on the player to be named later phenomenon that occurred here in the deadline. My theory is that, teams don't want to physically trade guys like minor leaguers and stuff for liability reasons. I don't think, like, if the Tigers and, let's say, the Angels made a trade, I know that didn't happen, but let's say the Tigers and the Angels made a trade, and the Tigers are getting prospects back from the Angels, a guy who's traveling from Los Angeles to Detroit or Toledo or whatever, to go to their farm system, that's a long trip from LA to Toledo or Detroit. So, they want to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. So that's my whole theory on the player to be named later thing. I think those players and those players who are to be named later in these deals, you're going to start seeing their names surface probably, I would say, I haven't heard anything but like after the postseason. after the season's over. That's my theory, because of liability, and they don't want players to get sick and transferring the virus through the minor leagues. That's why I think they're doing a lot of player to be named later things, because there was a lot of player to be named later moves that transpired, and it was a lot more than what I ever seen. I thought that was strange, and I kind of thought about it, and I want to mention my kind of theory behind that. That's why I think they're doing these player to be named later things, trades, because they don't want to spread the coronavirus throughout the minor leagues. Because usually the minor leagues are the players who are being named later. They are minor leaguers that go the other way in these deals that involve major leaguers. So yeah, that was my quick little theory on the player to be named later thing. Just wanted to edit it in there. All right, thanks. But yeah, that's really all I got for today's video. If you like this video, put a thumbs up on it. Comment down below what you thought of the deadline today. It's moves, it's non-moves, it's transactions, it's failures. The teams that made the transactions, the teams that failed to make the transactions, Yankees, Dodgers, Braves, Twins. But yeah, comment down below what you thought of the deadline. Leave a like on it, subscribe at like 305 subscribers. I appreciate that. And as always, I'm going to catch you guys later.